In this video, we're going to talk about overlapping triangles, and we're going to do it with a proof, an example of a proof. All right. So we have this proof here, or this problem here. All right. It says given AG is congruent with CD, or we have some conditions, right? And like I always advise you to do, try to use colors to point out whatever you have. So it's telling me that we have that AG is congruent with CD. So we see that AG is this, right? So AG is congruent with CD, all right? And I'm going to point that out with that color. AD is congruent with CG. I'm going to use a different color. So AD, this here, AD, it's congruent with CG, this here, right? So I know that those two are congruent. GF, I'm going to use white, GF, it's congruent with DE, this one right here. Prove that the triangle HFG, this triangle, it's congruent with IED, with this triangle, right? You might think this is really hard, right? Because I have overlapping triangles. So an overlapping triangle is, and let me erase this. An overlapping triangle is when we have a big triangle. Let's suppose this big triangle, right? That overlaps with another one. It could be even bigger or it could be smaller. For example, this triangle right here. This triangle overlaps with the other one, right? So that's the idea of overlapping triangles. All right, let me erase that. Okay, so how can we prove that these two little triangles are congruent? If you notice, we have a criteria. Let me like amplify this for a second. We have some criteria that we can use to prove that triangles are congruent. We have that the two sides are congruent. Maybe, if you think about it, it could be enough that if we have, if you remember, we have the criteria that we have to prove that two triangles are congruent are side, angle, and mostly angle, side, angle, right? And the only one that has one side is this one. ASA, right? So we're going to use that one to try to prove this. So if we have the side, we just need the two angles to be congruent, right? This should be congruent with this. And let me use a different color here. And this should be congruent with this one, right? But if you notice, this angle here, right? It belongs to this big triangle, right? The AGF triangle. And the same goes with this angle, EDC triangle, right? So these two angles also belong to that big triangle. So maybe if we prove that the two triangles are congruent, we can guarantee that the two corresponding angles are congruent. They have the same measurement. The same goes with this little angle. We notice that this little angle belongs also to this big triangle, right? The triangle GCD, right? And the same corresponding angle on the other side, the angle D, belongs to this big triangle, right? And the same goes for this case. If we prove that the two big triangles, if we can show that triangle, let me change the color. If we prove that the triangle AGD is congruent with CDG triangle, then we know that the two angles are congruent, and we can then use ASA to prove that. All right, so let's try to do that. Immediately we notice, let me go back. Okay, so immediately we notice that this triangle, this side, of this triangle is congruent with this one by the given, and the same goes with the orange that we draw. And we also have that the side GD, it's a common side to both triangles. So basically we have side for both. So, all right, so let's start. So we have statements, and we have reasons, right? So our first statement is going to be the given, right? I'm just going to copy it. So we don't have to like rewrite it. You kind of have to if you're doing it with a pen. So there's no other option, right? So all right. So our first statement is our given, right? Given. All right. Second we already noticed that this is a common side. So GD is equal to obviously GD, and this is reflexive property or common side, right? Property or common side to both. And if that happens, then the two triangles are congruent. So triangle AGD, it's congruent with triangle CDG, right? By the side postulate or criteria. If we know this, then we can guarantee that this little angle G and D are congruent, right? Why? So angle G, or not G, because we have a lot of angles here. So angle CGD, it's congruent with angle ADG. Angle ADG, right? Why is this? Oh, my bad, 4. Why is this? By CPCTE. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are equal. So we know that the two angles are equal. So we are only left to find that this angle is congruent with this angle. How can we do it? Okay, we already discussed that if we prove that these two triangles, this and this are congruent, then we can prove that the two angles that we need are congruent. That means angle F here and the angle that is here on E. We notice from the previous analysis that we did for these big triangles, right? We noticed that this angle is also congruent with this big angle, right? Because they're already congruent, right? And because they're corresponding, it must be congruent. So 5, angle AGF must be congruent with CDE. We can name it like that. CDE, right? There must be congruent, right? So again, this big angle must be congruent with this angle, right? But we notice we have a side, an angle, and a side. So basically, we have side, angle, side. And if we have side, angle, side, then we know that the two triangles are congruent. So, okay, that means that triangle AGF, so triangle AGF is going to be congruent with triangle CDE. So CDE, right? Why is this? Okay, this is also by CPCTE, my bad, CPCTE. And why is this? Because we have side, angle, side. So side, angle, side, right? And now that we know that the two triangles are congruent, then we know that by corresponding parts, these two must be congruent too, because it's basically the acute angle on that triangle. So angle AFG, must be congruent with angle CED. So it must be congruent with angle CED. All right, and why is that? Because CPCTE, because corresponding parts on congruent triangles are equal. So now that we have that, we basically have everything, because we have an angle, a side, and an angle. So we have ASA basically on both. So if we have that, then the two triangles are congruent. So triangle AFG. All right, so we have basically this, right? So we just proved that the two triangles are congruent. Why? By angle, side, angle. Okay, I know that the move in this could be a little bit tricky to follow whatever we're doing. But you can always pause the video and like rewind and look whatever I was saying and try to make sense of it. All right, so I hope that it's good enough to learn or to have an idea on how to use overlapping triangles to make proof that involves precisely triangles. All right, see you in the next one.